Hi, this is Bob Zyback with Oregon Websites and Watersheds Project, Inc., and today we're going to revisit a 2004 Camas bake in Ashland, Oregon. This was the second annual bake at North Mountain Park. It was started by Todt, assisted by Frank Kenawha Lake of Oregon State University. Video and photography were done by myself and Nona Lapham of Northwest Maps Company. The update from 2004 until now was accomplished by McKenzie Peters, also of Northwest Maps Company. Here we see Luna, Don, and Frank heading out, and our work on that day was being videotaped for television by Channel 12 of Ashland. The reason these files are being updated from 2004 is because files were a lot smaller at that time, a lot lower resolution. That was several years before YouTube, 5 or 6 years before YouTube. And so videos were different software, different resolution, just in order to be played at all. These were some of the very first videos ever on the internet. So if we take a modern browser, and right here we're using Firefox, if we go down to Frank's digging stick as a video, for example, and download that, we can see we've got to have QuickTime Player as a default in order to play it. If we say OK, we get a very tiny file that we can play.
You mount mahogany or you would,
but is very small and only lasts 55 seconds. If we try Chrome, which is made by Google for Microsoft, and we use their current browser, and we go to the same video, we can see that it's downloading to desktop, and we have to pick it up there. So it won't play it directly. If we go to Safari, which is made specifically for Apple, and we try the video, we get a much better result.
You mount mahogany or you would with an elk antler tine or a thicker deer antler across the top, but these ones, based on kind of the older traditional design, are helpful because you can pull them off, and when you get down there.
Here we can see we get a larger video, we get good sound, but we have to have an Apple operating Safari in order to get a good result on a 55-second video. So McKenzie Peters with Northwest Maps Company has taken these older videos, combined them into a newer format that can be seen by all three browsers and with good sound.
You mount mahogany or you would with an elk antler tine or a thicker deer antler across the top, but these ones, based on kind of the older traditional design, are helpful because you can pull them off, and when you get down there part, if you're digging other roots, you can kind of use it as a soil picker to dig through and loosen it up, and then just stick another plant material or something in between it, and it'd be good to go. And if you broke your stick, you save your top. You can do it as, you come in a little bit and kind of pop down on some part of it. That removes one aspect of it. And with the bigger rocks, that might take 2 or 3 clumps, and you don't want to go too close to it. You want to kind of get close enough off to the side, and then once you get back to where you think you got loosened up a little bit, try to go a little deeper, and hopefully the soil's right, and I can get deep enough with the Camas. Pop the whole thing up like that. Then you got your bulb. Then you can kind of start to separate them and look through and see. We see little baby ones here that have kind of already started. So what we'll do is we'll be careful when we're doing these today, just to kind of lightly loosen up the roots around them. But someplace in here, you can see it's a whole cluster of them. And it kind of probably started from one central one that was scarred by us digging it last year, or just the way it was growing. They're all kind of connected off that main one. So kind of like almost tiger lily bulbs or lily bulbs. You can take off these younger ones, and we'll lay these off to the side for replanting. And then we'll get down in here to some of the bigger ones that were at the core. And you see how that one was a taproot? That central one right there. And there's like a little baby offshoot right there, a little tiny fella. That's the kind of ones that we'll replant back. And then Interesting enough, I hadn't seen this a whole lot, but we'll save these. These ones we'll put for food, put for the food ones over there. We'll hopefully get some bigger ones. But you see, even the central one that had the other ones connected to it has still a central taproot on it. And it's small enough with all the little tiny offshoots on it. We'll just save that for replanting back. Around habitation sites in areas like this, you know, we think about our village was over here off Ashland Creek. This was our floodplain. We had our Camas flats down through here. This is our wood recruitment area, and so any of the smaller wood that we could break down, that would be driftwood, we could use. If we had burnt off areas, like up on the south facing part there to Chaparral, and a fire went through and top killed the manzanita, we could break off the tops of the manzanita and do like we're doing here. We could use the manzanita. And so the combination between driftwoods, locally available, you know, down wood that maybe wasn't going to be important wildlife habitat one way, is important. But the most important thing about the wood is you want to use ideally hardwoods or shrubs like the manzanita that don't have a lot of resins or pitch in them. Part of the thing about using like conifer, like cedar or Douglas fir, is that it has a lot of pitch in it, and that will impart a bad, more of a kind of a turpentine almost flavor to the food. And so by using good hardwood like maple or alder, here we have the manzanita, even madrone, I would have a tendency to like the real hard, dense grain hardwoods as my preferred cooking woods. Even when I cook fish over open pit, I like to use manzanita, sometimes alder on the coast, or even madrone. But the combination of like manzanita and alder for me gives a really good hard, dense coal with good radiant heat without much flame. And I think that's also kind of important too. When you cook this down, you want it to have good coals to cook down and make a good hot fire that will heat your rocks up, but not really smoldering around in there that has a lot of pitch or other resins and things in there that would go up into your food. Rocks.
Do you have enough wood?
Then we can probably get a little more as
We got a thick around, do we?
actually hot enough to ignite, say, dry material that we might put layer.
The dirt wouldn't burn.
And we're gonna put this in
When the
here.
stick goes in.
Not the meat.
Yeah, I don't know about the meat. Did you guys didn't want us to wrap the meat, did you? With
I'll do that here.
Okay,
You guys can
yeah.
help
We
with vegetation.
little flowers on it.
That's fine. You can try digging some of those.
Seem like a good size or not?
Well, you can do the edge ones,
Those
or you
all
can
look
go
like
into
they're
the
pretty
center
good
clump.
size, so I'll just
Maybe see some of these.
keep them all.
I mean, you almost have to think like we're kind of like thinning the stand too.
Peel the outside layer off, and we end up with something just about like that. That's pretty small, but once we get them all together, they're going to be pretty good size. And some of those, like this one, are actually quite large.
Really, one of those important native species.
Do you want us to be
you can look at
saving
it through a
the
much
little ones?
broader and,
Oh,
Replant.
yeah, we'll
kind of
probably
historical and kind of
start throwing this in, and actually like
well, you
that
know,
over
when
on
we
the
can
east
go
side
out
of the
to the
cascade.
it's just younger leaves compared to the meat.
Grab some of those meat.
Try and get it as even as we can.
Want to grab some cameras?
Yeah, we've got one pretty much to
It's nice that that's steam.
People thinking they're parasites.
I was trying to invent it, but you're right.
Is that it?
Okay.
Good. But mainly it's the camas.
Mainly it's the Camas.
Yeah.
Now we're going to put ferns over the top of that, just to make sure that the ferns are wet enough. Sometimes, you know, believe it or not, it's so hot down there that it'll catch some of the vegetation on
Fire.
to scrape out coals. Put burlap over the top of this.
What would have been used if you didn't
Probably
have burlap?
skins, I'm guessing.
Camas, or not camas, the dog mane bags.